Hi everyone, my name is Roy Clariana. I'm one of the presenters today, but I am not present, as you can tell. This is a video. I'm at a conference right now in Copenhagen, the European Distance Learning Association conference. I wanted to take just maybe 2 minutes to talk about the history of this tool and how you might envision how it could be used based on what we're thinking about all of this. The story starts when I came to Penn State about 1997, actually before that, but it really starts about 1997. I was doing various research projects with doctoral students, and I had one student for her dissertation that wanted to use concept maps, Ellen Tarakani. And so I needed to come up, or we wanted to come up with a way of objectively scoring concept maps. A concept map is a proposition map that's hierarchical in nature. Essentially, a proposition is a unit of information that consists of a noun, a verb, and a noun. That is a subject, a verb, and an object, such as Bob hit the ball. So Bob and ball are the subject and object, and hit is the verb. And we decided to create an n-by-n array of terms like Bob and ball, of nouns. And whenever there was a link between them, the proposition would put a 1, and when there was no link, a 0. And so we were able to convert any of the concept maps that the students created into an n-by-n mathematical array, which could then be represented. It's a Pathfinder network that can be compared to an expert map in terms of how the n-by-n array compares to other kinds of n-by-n arrays. And she ran her study, and we found out that there was a correlation between the relationship of a student's concept map n-by-n array to the expert in terms of its correlation with both vocabulary tests and with comprehension post-test. And this was a study that involved the content of the human heart. So that's good. It worked pretty good. It was easy to do. It was a way of objectively measuring concept maps. Well, at that time, and even today, a lot of teachers in high school like to use concept maps, especially in science classes, as a way of preparing information for students to then write an essay. Like when we came through school, the teacher would say, write an outline and then write an essay from the outline. Well, students don't like to do outlines, but they don't mind doing concept maps. So the idea is instead of an outline, do a concept map and then write an essay from the concept map. So I thought, wow, there's a natural relationship between concept maps and essays, at least in the teachers' minds. So I started thinking, is there a way of converting an essay into a concept map? Well, lo and behold, an essay is basically a group of propositions. Just like Bob hit the ball, it's a proposition in a concept map. It's also a proposition in an essay. So just as we turned a node-linked node in a concept map into a 1 in an n-by-n array, we could do the same thing for an essay. So I developed an Excel spreadsheet using text matching that would look at a student's essay and turn it into, it would see if a term occurs or not, and then if the two terms occur together, it would put a 1 there, and if it didn't, it would be a 0. So an essay essentially was turned into an n-by-n array. The key on all of this is you have to identify the keywords ahead of time, and you need an expert to do that. And if there are alternatives such as synonyms and metonyms for keywords, you have to identify all of those so that a student may say a ball, or they may say hit the toy, or whatever. You need to know all the variations that might be that term, so that when you're searching for them in the Excel spreadsheet, that would also result in a proper link there. And then I decided to automate that Excel tool. We did some experiments with the Excel tool, and we showed that it actually also produced correlations with normal traditional measures. I decided to automate that tool. I did that into a piece of software called ALA-Reader, ALA-Reader. So if you want to read some of the studies that we've done on this, just look for my name, Clariana, C-L-A-R-I-A-N-A, and include the word essay. And if you go to Google Scholar and type that in, you'll probably get 15 or 20 studies that we've done on scoring essays using this methodology. My graduate student, Kyung Kim, said, it would be great if there were a tool on the internet to do this, because up to that time the students would write their essay, give it to us in electronic form, and then we manually had to enter it into ALA-Reader. Manually means you type in the file name and hit enter, but still that's manual, and it would produce the n-by-n array. What if the students could enter the essay themselves and press enter, and we would get the results and the student would get the results too? So he got a COIL grant about, 2 years ago to write the GIKS tool, the graphical interface of knowledge structure. We're calling this knowledge structure whenever we elicit what people know in their head and represent it then into a network graph, as you see here. So that was the origination of GIKS all the way back to 2002 up until now. How can we envision its use in improving writing? Well, the idea is that an essay is a pretty big, long, linear thing, and not so easy to inspect, but a concept map is really easy to inspect. So the idea of the tool is pretty straightforward, that the essay uses the process our reader uses to create links. Those links are easy to render into a directed network graph. And so any terms that are central to the essay will be more or less in the center of this network graph and have lots of link to it. Things that are not important will be on the periphery. They'll be the leaves on the network graph that's created. And so it's very easy to quickly inspect whether your essay has the same central terms as the expert's essay, and then you can adapt your own essay so that you have more central terms like the expert does. So that's where this came from. The idea is if you can see what your essay looks like, see the links that you have that are similar to the expert and see the ones that are unlike, you can revise your essay and improve it. And so that's where we came from. And so the tool itself, the GIKS tool, it not only just gives a question prompt, but you can put a video in there that they could watch, or you can have text for them to read, or anything that can be put into HTML can be put into GIKS for them to use as a source material. And then they write, they click the submit button, they see their representation, and then they rewrite. And so that's sort of the idea. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope that you have a great workshop this weekend. Wish I were there, but I'm having a wonderful time in Copenhagen.